And you can go straight to see what happened when we used it right out of the box. And you can go to my recommendations at the end, or you can just leave right now. But I think it's important that everybody know full well what can happen with the Byrna if you rely on this as your primary weapon. All Christian warriors, on this channel, we talk about everything church security, how to defend yourself, your church, and how to do it in a godly way. Today, we're talking about the Byrna SD. It is a handgun pepper ball launcher. You guys have all asked me to evaluate it, and I evaluated it quite a long time ago. It's been almost a year since I got this and started using it in evaluations. And I've held off till now to do it because I'm probably going to be the only person on YouTube that is not going to recommend the Byrna launcher. Now, look, I don't think you should totally discount the Byrna. I think there's a place for the Byrna, but it's not as your primary self-defense weapon. You should have another self-defense weapon first, followed by this. Now, you can skip ahead and skip my introduction, my breakdown of the Byrna and what you get when you buy a Byrna, and you can go straight to see what happened when we used it right out of the box. But I think it's important that everybody know full well what can happen with the Byrna if you rely on this as your primary weapon. So first off, let's go ahead and let's head in to Studio B and let's take a look at what you get in the package when you order it from Byrna, when you order this little handgun. Let's go into what you get and how all of it kind of fits together.
Okay, we got our beautiful case. They have great packaging. On the top side, we're going to have all of our literature. It's stuff that we all tend to ignore, like registration, user manual, only women follow directions, not us. Got a good schematic here. I'm trying to keep it out of light here. Good schematic, kind of is pretty good for you. Give you a little card that says not a firearm under federal law. This is not going to do anything for you, but it is a member Byrna card. Whatever membership gets for you. I haven't looked that far into it, to be honest, because I was more concerned about this. I'm going to give you a heads up first. I opened this, played with it, did everything. I've run this thing through the ringer. I now replaced everything, and I'm giving you the best representation of what's in here, but they'll end up giving you 3 vials of, I can't remember if they give you projectile or the hard projectile, the kinetic projectile. I don't remember what was in there, but you do get the pepper balls that are in there. And the pepper balls, I'm having problems with these. You're going to see, but the powder just drops and doesn't dissipate everywhere. When I did that, I have what Byrna gave me, these things. And then I have some that I bought on my own through, I think it was Lipsy's or RSR. And I bought a whole bunch thinking this was going to be great. And it ended up turning out to be not great. But I bought a bunch of these. I mean, a lot. And I had problems with every single one of them. So it wasn't an issue of just a certain lot. And I'll go into it more later in the video. You get spare CO2 cartridges, and then you get the firearm. It does have fire. It's on fire. It also has a safe. I would recommend just leave it on fire. I'll show you here in a minute. Why? For YouTube, you're watching this. This is not a firearm, so it doesn't go by your policy. It's got a magazine that these little balls are going to fit into. I'm not going to show you exactly how they go in there because YouTube will strike me, even though it's not a firearm, but it's gonna, you can see it's got this little actuator right here, and then you're gonna put that in there, and I'm not actually doing it. YouTube, don't strike me, bro. There's that. You see it's got a fairly large opening, you know, because there are large balls that are going to come out of there. You got your mag release, that, you know, that mag is going to come out of here. They gave you a spare magazine to go with it. Now, this is quite hard to actuate, and let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the CO2 canisters in here, okay? So they give you an Allen key to work with, and then I'm going to skip the opening part because although Well, if YouTube thinks it's a firearm and it shows me opening and inserting, then I'll get in trouble for showing you how to operate or something like that. So hang on. So you can see this is just a plug that comes out, and then you got the opening down there. I think I can get that on the camera. There you go. Your CO2 cartridge just drops down into there. I'm not going to show me putting it in there, but here you can see it's just sitting in there. And then you're going to take that plug and put that back on. So our CO2 is in there. Let's say that we had a magazine full of pepper balls. I can't show myself loading this. YouTube doesn't let you show loading or something like that. It's so stupid. But what's going to happen is, like, I would just leave this not on safe ever. I just leave it on fire. When you pull that trigger, it's going to actuate, or not actuate, it's going to puncture a hole into that CO2 cartridge. This will last a little more than one magazine, and then you'll have to change it. And it's not just dropping your mag and then reloading, because now it has decreased pressure. And so every round after this, until you change this, and it's a chore to unscrew that, because who keeps this key in their pocket, right? Don't bet your life on this. Now, let's go back into the studio. Let's talk about my analysis and why I'm not recommending Byrna, and I'll show you clips of my testing so that way you know what happened.
Let's talk about the testing of the Byrna. So we went to Boise Krav Maga, and in Boise Krav Maga, we had several volunteers that let us shoot it at them and just let us use them as guinea pigs. One of them was a really big biker dude. We got to shoot at him. And one of the problems that when we started using this right off the bat is we shot him with a pepper ball. The pepper ball hit him and the powder immediately fell to the ground. Instead of dispersing all over the place and, like up in the air where it would get him in a cloud of, pepper ball dust like we all see in other videos, that was not what happened to me. So we shot him with it. The powder dropped to the ground and that was it.
Yep. Go ahead. Good.
Step back, step back, step back.
Down.
Yep.
Go ahead. Good.
Step back, step back, step back.
How was that?
You can feel it, but it ain't bad.
Would it make you stop?
No.
No.
No?
Dude, I'm beating your ass.
Now I'm pissed.
I'm beating your ass.
So what if, what we'll look at in a minute is to see what the bruising looks like.
Yeah.
Shoot him 6 or 7 times and see what it does.
Oh, a little bit. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks about.
Wait, a couple inches to the right, it would have hurt.
Sights are off a little bit.
And so what made me nervous is that if you're relying on this and you shoot at somebody and it hits them and the powder just falls to the ground, that was the first round out of this thing. There's only one other gun or weapon that has malfunctioned like that I've ever shot. That was the High Point Yeet Cannon. The first round through the Yeet Cannon, and it double feeds. The High Point failed in the first magazine, and I got the most outrageous jam that I've ever had in my life. I've never had anything quite like it. When I shot this is what it reminded me of. So I got to ask you, is the Byrna the equivalent of High Point for pepper spray products? What if that was you in a critical moment and you popped the trigger and then the powder just fell to the ground? Now, we hit them with some Kinetic cartridges as well. We had Kinetic cartridges. We shot them with it. And, I mean, it left a slight bruise.
Okay.
That hurt more or same?
Same.
That one did not break, right? I saw it roll off.
Yeah, it's under the van.
But he told us he can just keep going. And we told him not to because we didn't want to get in a big fight. It was just, could he overcome what was going on? Now, he wasn't drunk. He wasn't under the influence. He didn't have mental illness. He wasn't possessed. There was nothing going on with him. He just showed up and let us shoot at him. But what happens when you're shooting at somebody high on drugs, under the influence of alcohol, they have major mental illness and they're having a major mental break, or they're possessed, and now they come in and they're going to hurt you or people in the church, and you relied on this. I don't think this should be your primary functioning weapon. I think a much better option would be pepper spray. In fact, I'll throw up some B-roll right now that you can see with pepper spray. What I like about pepper spray is it works every time. I've never had pepper spray fail on me ever. And you can see by this video, you can see it sprays evenly. It gets them in the face. It works exactly like we want it to. With pepper spray, there is 4 hours of initial training and nothing else after that. The Byrna would kind of be the same thing. We get people about 4 hours of training, but it can fail because it's mechanical. There's a lot to fail within this. Now, one of the other things I did with it is the one positive about this is I wanted to test the velocity of the rounds coming out of the Byrna launcher. And so I pulled out my Garmin, set it up, and we measured the rounds as they came out. And here you can see what the results were of all the shots. I was impressed by the speed of the rounds and how it was fairly consistent of the rounds exiting the barrel as they went down range. I thought that was pretty good. I think this is intuitive to shoot. We gave it to lay people and just had them start shooting. It worked really well. The trigger is really, let's see the trigger. You can pull with me here. It's pretty tough. In fact, let's go weigh the trigger real quick. So I got my trigger pull scale. Now, I don't have a CO2 cartridge in this, so it's not going to be totally accurate. Let's see what that might be. Oh yeah, it's off the scale. And so this only goes to 8 pounds. This is over 8 pounds. So, I mean, honestly, you're looking at it, probably a 10-pound or more trigger, which is not going to be the most accurate thing. In fact, if you go over to 2A Cops Sporting Gun Rights, Matt and I did an evaluation of the New York trigger and the Glock, which is like a 10, 12-pound trigger on every pull, and it affects accuracy. And so I don't think there's anything that you can get around with that, to get around that. I mean, you got to pull the trigger, and as you pull, it's going to veer. Now, I didn't miss when I was shooting, but I shoot a lot. So what about the people that don't shoot a lot? Again, going back to pepper spray, you just push the button and it expels, and it's pretty intuitive. I point my thumb at your face and I push. It's pretty simple. So you can go look at all the other videos on YouTube where people reel in pain and they talk about how much it hurts. But I got to tell you, ours, we used the CO2 cartridge provided with the pistol. We used the ammo provided by Byrna, and it just didn't cause everything that we had heard about. It didn't cause the injuries that we had heard about. It didn't have that impact. It didn't leave that mark. It didn't we didn't see the powder rise up. Now, I did talk to a Byrna rep at SHOT Show, and I brought this up. And he brought up a good point, and he said you shouldn't leave this as your primary source of self-defense. And I agree with this. I'll give you an example for me. Now, I bought this model with my own money. I bought it because I wanted an option for if things get really bad. And I want to keep people away from my house, but I don't want to kill them because everybody seems to think you're going to be on a killing spree. And, when things go bad, and that's not what's going to happen. Now, I like this as an option. With this one, I'm going to have a primary sidearm with me, and more than likely, I'm going to have somebody with me that is going to be providing lethal cover. And with this, I can go ahead and I can lay down the rounds that I need to disperse a crowd. And if it doesn't work, we still have other less lethal or lethal means. So I bought this for the sole purpose is having a tool with me, an option, but not as my primary option. My concern with all of you is you bought this as your primary source defense. I think that would be a mistake. Your primary, if you cannot have a firearm at your church, there are Christian denominations that don't let people carry a gun in their church. And so I get it. And then you could live outside of the United States in California, Oregon, Washington, New York, and you're looking for an option because your rights are suppressed. I think pepper spray is your number one go-to. That will never fail for the most part. Even people that are on drugs, you can spray them in the eyes and now they can't see you. So it works really well. This should not be your primary. All right, I think I beat a dead horse with that one. So Byrna, I like your product if it's not my primary source of protection. So have something else and have this as a backup and just another tool in the toolbox. Just my 2 cents. As always, when you leave here, I want you to pray unceasingly for the safety of your family, your church, and your security teams. And I also want you to remember your ABCs, always be caring.